Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time tuning in, my name is Adrielle, and I'm currently narrating a story of my life dating back from January 2016. In the previous episode, I gave a commentary of Brandon and Caitlin's live, and in one of my thoughts of the video, of the live, was that while I was watching Caitlin and Brandon's live, I said that Caitlin reminded me so much about Tony. And that was when later on I realized why God had me attend Tony and James Church. So in this video, I'm going to talk about that. So here it goes. So a couple of days after the live, I just thought about how Caitlin reminded me so much of Tony. That was when I realized why God had me attend Tony and James Church. And I'm going to give you the rundown. So back in 2019, August, I started attending James Church. By October and November, I started to sense that the Lord brought me to Tony and James Church to learn something from them. Now, at the time, I didn't know what it was because I honestly didn't believe that I was going to start a church with Brandon or any of that. So I didn't know what I was going to learn about them. Fast forward to May 2020, I find out about the scandal. I stop attending the church, right? So now I'm like, okay, God, why did you have me be a part of this church for like 9 months? I didn't get it. So I'm going to tell you why God had me join Tony and James Church. God wanted me to learn from them. That was actually true, okay? God wanted me to learn from them. He wanted me to learn about their relationship dynamic because Tony and James had a Jezebel and Ahab relationship dynamic. He wanted me to learn that so that I could better discern Brandon and Caitlin's relationship dynamic because they too had a Jezebel and Ahab relationship dynamic as well. So that was the reason why God had me in Tony and James Church, to learn more about the Jezebel and Ahab relationship dynamic. So I'm not going to spend the rest of this video talking about Tony and James. I kind of talked about how Tony was a Jezebel in some episodes ago and how James had the Ahab spirit too as well, some episodes ago. So what I'm going to do in this video, I'm going to tell you about Jezebel. And the stuff I learned about Jezebel, y'all, was stuff that I encountered with people. So, y'all, Tony wasn't the only person I encountered that had the Jezebel spirit. There were other people from my past that had a Jezebel spirit, but I didn't know until later on. So I'm going to talk about that, stuff I learned in those situations, stuff I learned from the Caitlin situation, and also, things that the Bible talks about too. So here it goes. Who is Jezebel? Now, based off my experience with a woman who has Jezebel spirit, now I want to clarify this. The Jezebel spirit is not gender specific. So the Jezebel spirit can operate in a woman. It could also operate in a man. Also, the Ahab spirit is not gender specific as well. It can operate in a man and it can operate in a woman. So I just want to make sure that is clear. So who is Jezebel? Now, I kind of want to lay this out in like layman's terms. Y'all, Jezebel is a demonic spirit, right? But here's the thing. Jezebel is to the devil what a hoe is to a pimp. So a hoe does everything the pimp tells her to do. If the pimp tells her to sleep with these men, she's going to do it. If the hoe is disobedient, the pimp is going to slap her. The pimp is going to tell her that, give me all your money. The hoe's going to do it. That is what Jezebel does when it comes to the devil. Like, Jezebel is out here doing the devil's evil bidding. Okay. So that's kind of like who Jezebel is in layman's term. Okay. How does a Jezebel spirit operate through someone? Now, the only way, y'all, a demonic spirit can operate through a person is if there's an open door. Now, one of the biggest open door for demonic spirits and Satan to enter into somebody or operate through a person is unhealed trauma. So a lot of times as people, we don't heal from childhood trauma, relationship trauma, like whatever trauma we have, we don't heal from that. When you don't heal, y'all, that is an open door for the enemy to come into your life. Okay? So that is one of the biggest ways that the Jezebel spirit can operate through someone. Unhealed trauma, also unforgiveness. That's another thing too. But I think that kind of goes hand in hand with the unhealed trauma too, because I feel like if you heal from your trauma, you would forgive. So that's that. Also, who do they target? So a person who has a Jezebel spirit operating through them, let's say it's a woman, right? If a woman has a Jezebel spirit operating through her, she is going to target husbands and fathers. And the reason why she's targeting husbands and fathers is because she wants to destroy that husband's marriage and she wants to destroy the family unit. She's also going to target pastors because she wants to destroy the church. She is going to target CEOs, managers, owners, because she wants to destroy that business, that organization. Basically, any man in a leadership position, which is basically men in general, because men are leaders in society. So yeah, Jezebel is going to go after men. Now, in this example, this is a woman operating in the Jezebel spirit. A man operating in the Jezebel spirit, he is going to go after women. And that's a whole nother thing too. I can talk about that later on. But in the case of Brandon and Caitlin, we're just going to keep the spirits gender specific, okay? Another person that Jezebel targets are prophets. She's going to target prophets because prophets are out to do God's work. Jezebel is out to do the devil's work. So because of that, Jezebel don't like that. So she's going to try and come against God's prophets. And another thing that Jezebel doesn't like about prophets is that prophets are anointed. When a person is anointed, they have a higher spiritual rank. Okay? So that comes with influence. That comes with power. Jezebel doesn't like that. So Jezebel is going to try to come after a prophet. Another person that Jezebel is going to target, Jezebel is going to target God's children. And the reason why Jezebel is targeting God's children is because she wants to turn God's children away from God and have them serve the devil. So yeah, these are a couple of the people that Jezebel is going to target. Now, what is the goal of Jezebel? The goal of Jezebel is to turn people away from God and to destroy God's work. This is why Jezebel goes so hard with prophets, because prophets are out here, doing God's work. So that's that. And, children of God, they are living for God. They're living in righteousness. Jezebel wants to destroy the work of God in God's children. So yeah, Jezebel is out here to turn people away from God and to destroy God's work. Now, how is Jezebel successful? The only way Jezebel is successful is if you have unhealed trauma. To be honest, y'all, that is really the only way Jezebel can be successful. Because a person who has unhealed trauma, a lot of times they have low self-esteem, insecurities, they have self-doubt, they don't know who they are, they have rejection issues, they have probably family issues. So it's easy to get these people. But it's hard for Jezebel to get someone who is confident, they know who they are. They are strong-willed, strong-minded. It's hard for Jezebel to get that person, okay? So the only way Jezebel can be successful is if you have unhealed wounds, unhealed trauma, and stuff like that. So I'm going to talk about the signs that a person has a Jezebel spirit. Number 1, they will influence you to go against God by sinning. So if you are someone who is a child of God, you want to live your life for God, you want to honor God, Jezebel is going to encourage you, influence you to go against your faith in God. So it could be a situation where you would tell Jezebel that, I'm not fornicating because the Bible says, we should stay away from fornication. Jezebel is going to encourage you to fornicate. And she may say stuff like, well, there's no big deal. Like, it's normal. Everybody's doing that. Right. And then you're like, oh, you know what? That's true. I mean, there's no big deal. So it may start off with that. It's going to lead to other stuff. You may not be drinking because you don't want to drink, or you have a personal conviction of drinking. Jezebel is going to influence you to start drinking. Now, because you're around her, because you're allowing her to influence you, you're going to start drinking. The next thing you know, when you look back at your life, you're not going to recognize yourself. You're like, man, I never wanted to fornicate. I was fornicating. I never wanted to drink. I'm drinking. I never wanted to do X, Y, and Z, and I did all these things. Why? Because you were friends with Jezebel. The Bible tells us that Ahab did what was evil in the sight of the Lord under the influence of his wife Jezebel. So you want to be careful of who you are friends with, who you are dating, because you don't want anyone that's going to turn you away from God. And also, too, when God reveals to you that this person is a Jezebel or this person is bad, you need to take to what God is saying. Okay, so that is one of the signs that a person has a Jezebel spirit. The second sign, this is very interesting because I've actually come across this. The second sign is that they get people in trouble, or bad things will happen to people and also to the Jezebel person as well. So let me clarify this. If you are friends with someone who has a Jezebel spirit and you are constantly hanging out with them, this is someone who you have identified as your friend or as your best friend or whatever, you will start to notice that bad things are happening to you. It could be a situation where you and Jezebel are going to the grocery store and something happens to your car. You probably get a flat tire. It could be a situation where you are applying to a bunch of jobs and you don't get a job. Now, to your own knowledge, you're thinking, okay, these things that are happening to me is just happening because of life. No, that's not the reason why it's happening to you. The reason why it's happening to you is because you're with Jezebel. So the thing with Jezebel is, y'all, trouble follows her. So if you become friends with her, if you decide to date her, if you decide to do anything with her or whatever, because trouble follows her, trouble's also gonna follow you. Okay? So if you also look at Jezebel's life as well, you notice that there are things about her life that's not adding up. She got a bunch of parking tickets. She has a bunch of court appearances. She has a bunch of bad relationships. So things happening in her life too are like bad. Yes, because of that spirit. Now, there's someone on YouTube. There's a woman. I'm going to talk about her too later on in the month of July. She said that Jezebel is cursed. I can believe that. I can believe that because, y'all, I've seen people be friends with Jezebel and things happen in their life and they thought that it was just life happening. They're like, no, it's because you were friends with that Jezebel. That was why you went through all those things. So, yeah, that's the second point. If you're friends with Jezebel, in a relationship with Jezebel, or in a business working relationship with Jezebel, bad things or trouble is going to follow you. Now, the third thing, or the third sign, to look out for someone who has a Jezebel spirit operating through them is that they will control, manipulate, and deceive people. Now, I want you to be careful with this sign because I don't want it to be a situation where you notice a person is controlling and then automatically you're calling them a Jezebel. No, they can just be controlling. Or another person is, deceptive, and then you see that and you're like, oh, that's a Jezebel. And it's like, no, that person could just be deceptive. You have to look out for all three of these signs, y'all. Control, manipulation, and deception. Because Jezebel operates in all three of them. So Jezebel, when it comes to control, y'all, she wants dominance. She wants to dominate people. She wants to influence people, their choices, the way they live their life. She wants to manipulate people into doing things that she wants them to do. And she wants people to be deceived because she doesn't want them to know what is true and what is authentic. She doesn't want them to see the light. She wants them to stay in darkness, okay? So the next point, the next sign, really. Now, this is something that I've noticed from my interactions with people who have Jezebel spirits. They befriend doormats. And this was actually from a personal situation. There was someone I knew that had the Jezebel spirit operating through them. And I looked at their friends. I'm like, how come all their friends are doormats? You know, I used to be a doormat. How come all her friends are doormats, gentle people per se, and they're non-confrontational? I was like, that's strategic. She's purposely befriending these people. So yeah, y'all, a woman who has a Jezebel spirit, she's gonna befriend women who are doormats, people pleasers. They're not gonna confront her when she's doing something wrong or whatever. Now, what tends to happen is when they come across a person who is strong-willed, strong-minded, confident, what Jezebel tends to do is that Jezebel would mask in front of that person. So she would pretend that she's also strong-willed or confident in, just like that person. And the reason why she's masking is because she's intimidated by that person. And she doesn't want that person to know that they're intimidated, right? And she doesn't want that person to know that they feel weak around that strong-minded person, okay? So this is why Jezebel likes to keep doormats around, okay? So that's another sign. The next sign is that they are disrespectful. Now, I remember in one of Tony's videos, probably from 2017 or 2015, she did a video of how God healed her from her rejection wounds or whatever, right? She talked about in her video how she did not respect men and she would talk to men any old way. Y'all, Jezebel does not respect men. A Jezebel woman does not respect men. She will talk to them any old way. And the reason why a Jezebel woman doesn't respect men is because she hates authority. And the reason why she hates authority is because she hates submission. She wants people to submit to her. She doesn't want to submit to anybody. So what happens is that you will see Jezebel be very disrespectful. She feels like the rules never apply to her. It applies to everybody else, but not to her. Kind of similar to narcissists. Y'all, a lot of narcissists out there, y'all, they are narcissists because the Jezebel spirit is operating through them. So, yes, so Jezebel is disrespectful. She wants respect from people, and she also feels like that's a tactic to get respect from people. Because if I disrespect them and they take it, that means I can treat them like trash, and I'm also putting fear into them. If I'm putting fear into them, that will make them respect me. Now, here's the thing about that. And because there are people out there that think that way, that let me put fear into people so they can respect me. Now, that may work on people that are weak-minded or have unhealed trauma or wounds or whatever. But see, here's the thing, though. When it comes to that, if something was to happen to Jezebel, if Jezebel was to get into a car accident, nobody's coming to see Jezebel. If Jezebel was to lose everything, nobody is going to come to Jezebel's aid because they're like, no, I'm not helping her. After how she treats us and how disrespectful she is, no, she deserves what she got, right? So this is why you want to be careful of how you live your life. If you want respect from people, be respectful. That's it. So yeah, Jezebel is disrespectful. So not only to men, Jezebel's also disrespectful to other people in general. Like I said, she's trying to get that dominance, trying to get that influence, trying to control people. So that's another sign. Now, this next sign that I'm about to talk about, this is something that unless you're very intuitive, you can miss it. Okay? And this sign is that they live in inner turmoil. Now, let me explain this. Now, in this particular video, I'm talking about women that have the Jezebel spirit, okay? So, a woman that has a Jezebel spirit, she's going to be controlling. She's going to be manipulative. She's going to be deceptive. She's going to be disrespectful. She's going to do all these evil things. Now, here's the thing. The reason why she's doing all of these evil things is because of the demon inside of her. Now, I don't think people know this, but if a person has demons or a demon operating through them, that demon is tormenting that person. So I'm going to quickly talk about narcissists. So some of you have encountered narcissists who just yell at you, scream at you, belittle you, and you're crying and you're just wondering like, man, I didn't do nothing. All I said was that the weather is nice. Like they just started screaming at me. You got to understand this. The behavior that they're displaying to you is what they are going through internally. So the narcissist, or let's just say Jezebel, the Jezebel is yelling at you. Demons are yelling at her. The Jezebel is calling you stupid and dumb. The demons are calling her stupid and dumb. Okay? So I want y'all to be clear about that because I feel like a lot of people see these Jezebels, narcissists, and they think like, man, they're just getting away with talking down on me, yelling at me. Man, they're just getting away. They're not getting away. They're going through the same thing you're going through. Demons are putting them up through the same thing that they're putting you through. Okay? So when you see a Jezebel acting erratic, screaming, yelling, being disrespectful, calling you stupid, calling you dumb, saying that you will never exceed those expectations. Y'all, Caitlin opened her mouth and said that Brandon will never exceed Kobe's expectations. I'm like, girl, what are your expectations? Like, I was tight when she said that. But anyways, whatever Jezebel is throwing your way, whatever abuse she's throwing your way, demons are putting her through that same abuse. So because of that, y'all, this is the reason why Jezebels, narcissists, this is the reason why they seek external validation or external things like a promotion at a job. They seek praise from people. They seek money. They seek a relationship. They seek all these external things because internally they are bad. Like they are down bad internally. So they have to move over to the external just to feel better. Okay? So I want to say that. Also, I would like to mention that not only does the Jezebel spirit torment that person, but it also drains that person. This is why people who have the Jezebel spirit, they have a personality disorder, mental disorder. They struggle with mental illness. So that is why narcissists have the personality disorder that they have, because a spirit is operating through them. Like I said, a lot of narcissists, they do have that Jezebel spirit operating through them. So I want people to understand that too. And it's not only just a Jezebel spirit, y'all. I want people to understand that demons are behind personality disorders. Demons are behind mental illness, mental disorders, okay? So when you see people acting erratic and looking like they lost their mind, yeah, it's because of those demons, okay? So I'm going to move over to the next sign. And the next sign is that they operate in seduction. Now, I want to be clear about this when it comes to seduction. The reason why a woman that has a Jezebel spirit operates in seduction is because she has a seducing spirit. That seducing spirit could manifest in the form of sexual seduction. It could also manifest in the form of words. So it could be that anytime this Jezebel spirit says something, you just captivated by her words. It could be something that she's doing that you're captivated by. They operate in seduction. And because of that, you will see that a lot of people flock to them. They would have a lot of associates / friends and everything, is because of that seducing nature. There's something about her that's seducing people to her. If it's sexual seduction, men who operate in lust are going to be seduced by her. If it's a lifestyle, let's say this woman has a certain lifestyle that other women like, those women are going to be seduced into following her on social media or, attending her master classes or whatever. There's a seducing spirit attached to the Jezebel spirit woman. Okay, so that's that. And the last sign is that they operate in pride. Yes, so Jezebel is very prideful. Rarely would you see or hear Jezebel say sorry. Jezebel doesn't want to look like they are wrong in anything. They want to believe that everybody else is wrong and they're right. They don't want to be perceived as anything less than less. So you would rarely see Jezebel serving people, because it's not about her serving people, it's about people serving her. So you would never see Jezebel. You may not see Jezebel clean up, because that's not for Jezebel. That's for people that are less than. You may not see Jezebel do certain things. Now, if Jezebel is feeding the homeless, it's because she wants to look good in front of people. Jezebel doesn't have a servant's heart. She has a prideful heart, not a servant's heart. So, that is all that I have about Jezebel, y'all. If I come up with any other thing, if I remember, I'll probably do another video. In the next video, I'm going to talk about Ahab, y'all. So, if you are liking An Unlikely Story, please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.